So I have a question for you. Have you ever had to stop while reading because something in the story seemed fuzzy or it didn't make sense? I'm going to show you today what we can do to make sure that that doesn't happen. What you can do to fix it if it does happen. So, this lesson is fixing the fuzziness. The first thing that we want to do when this happens is to make sure that it is, what is that word when something makes sense and it's not all fuzzy? We would say that looks really, who can help me out with this word? Who can raise their hand and show me? Normal, yeah. So if you're looking at a pond and you see the ripples in the water, you know, and then those ripples calm down and the water is perfectly, I'll give you the first letter. Clear. We want to make sure that our stories are perfectly clear. So normal, that was a good word bracket. Clear and not fuzzy. So the fuzzy would be something that you would have to go back and read again because it didn't make sense. So make sure it's clear.
My screen's fuzzy for some reason.
Fuzzy. See how the writing on here is kind of fuzzy? We want to make sure it's nice and clear. So when we're going through our story and reading it, we want to ask ourselves a couple of things. So we want to know who the story is about, what's happening, and where it's happening. So we want to ask, what is the who? What is the who? What? And we also want to know where it's taking place. So I have all these question marks. What is the who, what, and where? So those are 3 questions you want to ask yourself while you're reading. If any of those questions are fuzzy, you want to go back and try and figure out what it means. So, what is the who, what, where? Something else we want to make sure is that when we're reading, we can see that picture in our head. It's kind of like we made a movie in our mind. So, right here we have a visual, and this brain up here has a movie going on. So, can I make a movie in my mind? That's what I'm asking. Can I make a movie in my mind? So if you're reading a story and you can picture that just perfectly clear in your head and you can tell exactly what's happening, just like Señorita Garcia's read aloud this morning, if you can imagine it in your brain, you can make a movie in your mind. The last thing we want to focus on is, did it give me feelings? And it doesn't always have to be a happy feeling. Maybe you had kind of confused feelings or emotions, or maybe it made you startled or nervous or scared. Those are all feelings that you could have while reading a story. So, did I have a feeling? Did I have a feeling? So boys and girls, I'm going to start a story for you. And while I read, I want you guys to let me know if anything felt fuzzy or unclear. Maybe it was you didn't know who, what, or where the story was happening or who the characters were. Could you make a movie in your mind about it? And did it give you any feelings? So, here's my story. When Sophie gets angry, really, really angry. Sophie was busy playing when... My turn. Her sister grabbed the gorilla. no, said Sophie. Yes, said her mother. It's her turn now, Sophie. As her sisters snatched Gorilla away, Sophie fell over the truck. So I have to pause really quick because something just seemed fuzzy in my mind. I saw this word up here, and it says snatched. I don't know what's happening. It seems a little fuzzy, so I need to go back and use my pictures to help me figure it out. So it's saying that she snatched the gorilla away. So I'm going to go back and look at this picture, and I'm thinking, okay, snatched must mean that she took it away from her. Do you see how I went back and made sure that it was clear to me? I wanted to make sure it made sense in my head. Oh, is Sophie ever angry now? Do you think that this can give you feelings as you read this? Yeah. So Sophie's feeling angry, and that might make us feel kind of that same emotion. So we see this picture and we might be thinking, ooh, I'm a little bit nervous now because she's so angry. She kicks, she screams, she wants to smash the world to smithereens. She is very upset. She roars a red, red roar. Sophie is a volcano ready to explode. And when Sophie gets angry, really, really angry, she runs. She runs and runs and runs until she can't run anymore. Then for a little while, she cries. Do you guys see how in this story you might be feeling different emotions? That shows us that you are understanding the story. The story is clear to you. We know who the story is about. Let's see, Petra, can you tell me who the story is about? Sophie. So can we check that one off? We know that's clear in our head. We know who the person in the story is. Do we know what this story is about? Alakai, I'm going to call on you. Alakai, do we know what this story is about?
About me?
Yes, you.
I don't know.
So let's look at the title again. When Sophie gets really, really angry. So can we decide that this story is about how she feels when Sophie gets angry?
Angry?
Yeah. So we know that this story is about Sophie and how she gets super angry. So let's check that one off. And the where. I can use the pictures. Let's make sure our microphones are muted, please. I can use the pictures to let me know where the story's happening. So this is Sophie's house. But then we learned that when she gets angry, she runs. And she ran outside. Do you guys see the trees? So we can understand that we know where the where is in the story. Can we make a movie in our mind? If you guys close your eyes and I tell you that Sophie is very, very angry because her little sister took her toy and she's just so upset. Can you start to see that in your head? Yeah. The last thing we need to check while we read is, did it give us feelings? And a lot of times when characters have feelings in a book, we start to feel those feelings too. So, Sophie wasn't really happy in this story. So far we've learned that she's just kind of angry. She's upset. But we might find out later in the story that that changes. But when we hear her have these feelings in the story and picture them in our brain, we start to have those same feelings. So we can have feelings as we read. Now, I'm going to finish this story later on, and so we'll get to see how it finishes. But for right now, we're going to break out into our groups. So, green group, you're going to be with me. Yellow group, you'll be with Miss Cheatham. You want to make sure that you have your book. This is the last day that we're going to do this book together. Tonight, when you guys come to packet pickup, you're getting a new book. So, yellow class and green class, you're both getting a brand new book. I think it's going to be a little bit more challenging, which will be awesome for you. So, last time that we will read this together in our groups, but remember that you can always keep this. You don't have to bring it back to the school. So, as you get more and more of these books, you can keep them, and then you have more choices to read and record on your reading log, okay? So go ahead and